Hi everyone, my name is Christine and I'm with Cheery Lynn Designs. I would like to share a project with you today, but first I'd like to show you a few of the dies that we're going to be using in that project and give you some reasons why you should try some of these dies if you don't already have any. First of all, Cheery Lynn Designs makes the most intricate, detailed, beautiful dies that you're going to find in the market today. One of the key reasons I started purchasing them myself is because they are made right here in the United States, which to me ensures that you're going to get a good quality product. These dies are compatible with most all of your tabletop cutting machines, including the Big Shot, the Vagabond, the E-Bosser, the Big Shot, the Big Kick, the Cuttlebug, and the Wizard. Now you can see from the dies here on my table, I'm just going to kind of hold this up to show you, look at the detail that's involved in these dies. They cut out beautifully each time you use them. They're nice and thin, so storing them is nice and easy as well. There is an online catalog on their website, which is cherrylyndesigns.com. They have a full website filled with all of the wonderful dies that they sell, as well as videos on how to use the dies and ideas. I'm going to share a project with you using these dies right here. The first die is the English Tea Party Doily die. And I'm just going to show you a little bit of the detail here. This is what the die looks like, and as you can see, there's all these holes. All of these cuts are going to be cut onto your paper or whatever other material you're cutting, and this is what it looks like, this particular die, when you cut it out. Now, as you can see, there are hundreds and hundreds of little delicate holes here that were made through this die, and it gives a wonderful impression by just rolling it a couple of times through your machine. Now, I suggest if you're going to be using any of the doily dies, there is an adapter plate for each machine on their website which helps cut the more intricate detailed dies, such as the doily dies. So this again is the English Tea Party doily die that we're going to be using as part of our background. This is the French pastry die, and it is another detailed doily die. Here it is right here. Cheery Lynn has a whole bunch of doily dies, and I personally love all of them. There's so many to choose from, but the reason why I picked these two dies to show as my first project with you is honestly it was my first purchase from Cheery Lynn, and one of the main reasons why I purchased both of these is because the French pastry die fits right inside the English Tea Party die. So I knew since one was a little larger than the other, I would be able to have a nice stackable type of a project that I would be able to use using two of the beautiful dies. So here are the two doily dies. We are also going to be creating a flower using the Cutie 2. This is what it looks like. It comes in a strip, and this is how it cuts out. And this is going to make a flower, and I'm going to show you how to do all of that, but like I said, I'd like to show you the dies first. This die right here is called the Flourish leaf strip, and this is what it looks like. Just beautifully detailed, each and every one of these. And this is what it looks like when it cuts. So you can see the wonderful detail that comes right out. This is just from running it through. I used the Big Shot to cut all of these out myself. This one is called the Fanciful Flourish. I love this one as well. And one of my very, very favorite first purchase, another one that was one of my first purchases, was this gorgeous Faerie lace butterfly die. It comes with two pieces. This is actually called the wing. And what you do with this is you put it right on the side of your paper. You fold your paper in half and put it onto the side. And when it cuts out, then this is how you're going to get it out of your machine. And you're going to open it up and you're going to have a full piece. Now this is what the Faerie lace butterfly looks like. And again, it looks a lot like the doily because of all of the beautiful intricate details that are in this die. This has been one of the most popular dies for me in any of my classes that I have taught because everyone loves it. Now we're not going to be using it today, but I wanted to share with you that there is also a larger lace butterfly. And look at the beautiful detail on this one. And what's nice about this one, if you purchase both, you can put the smaller one right inside the larger one and you have your dimension. So these, I highly recommend the butterfly dies, the doily dies. This is a nice starter assortment, what I'm going to be using today. I'm also going to be using the Stacker Flower Leaf die, which is this one here. I will put the numbers of all of the dies that I'm using in the information box, so if you would like to purchase, you can go over to the Cheery Lynn website and do that. Now when you go over there, you're going to see that they have such a large variety of dies. There's alphabets, borders, flourishes, butterflies, doilies, frames, there's boxes, there's holiday items. There's just such a wonderful selection. And Cheery Lynn comes out with new releases as well. And we actually have a new release coming out in July that I am so excited for. There always is something for everyone. So I hope you'll run over and check that out. So we're going to go ahead and get started on our project. And I'm going to just show you what I like to do with the doily. I've got both doilies cut out here. And like I said, I like that the one fits right inside the other, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my dimensional dots because I really like dimension and I don't want it laying flat when I do this. So I'm just going to peel these off and I will show you. I'm just going to stack it on top there. Okay? So there's my base. And as you can see, because I have the dimensional dots in there, it's not laying flat up against the previous doily. So I could go ahead and layer a couple more if I wanted, but I like it just as it is here, so I'm going to leave it right like that. Now I'm going to show you how to make the flower using the Cutie 2. There are several Cutie dies over on the website and they all make a little bit different of a flower, but they're all done the same way. What you need to do is you have to run the die through your machine twice because every flower is going to take at least 2 strips. So the first thing you're going to do is cut the 2 strips out. And then you need to apply an adhesive right up this strip of the die cut. You want to avoid getting any adhesive on the actual petals, and I'll show you why after we start to assemble. So I'm going to be using just a Scotch quick dry. You do need a quick dry adhesive for this because you're going to be moving it around and rolling it to make your flower. And the quicker it dries, it's going to hold its shape better. So again, and I'll show you this after I get it on there so you can see up close what it is I'm doing. I'm only putting the adhesive right up the strip. Okay? Not on the petals. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the second die cut and I'm just going to off-center the petals when I lay the second strip on top of the first. This is so easy. You can do this with your children. Anyone can do this. Okay, and then you're just going to press. Now I'm going to show this to you. Here's what I'm talking about when I said we're just offsetting the petals. You want to place the one strip right over the top of the previous strip, but you want the petals to be in all of the spaces on this one. And then you just want to make sure that it's adhered nice. So just press it. Now I am using just plain paper. You can use any kind of paper at all that you like. You can use vellum. Double-sided paper is best because when you roll it, you're going to be pulling the leaves down and you're going to be seeing a little bit of each side of the paper. And just remember, if you are using double-sided paper, or I'm sorry, a paper with one pattern on the front and the pattern side is what you want to be able to see, remember that when you're rolling, you want to roll the pattern in. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is I'm going to use my scissors, no fancy tool. You can use a toothpick, you can use anything at all that you want. A quill, some people use quilling tools, but I just want to show you how easy it is to do just using anything at all. So I'm going to use a pair of scissors. And you're going to start at the very, very end of the die and just roll. And I only do this just to start out. Okay, and then I pull it out. And then how I find it easiest to do is I take my my thumb and my middle finger and I hold it like this and I just continue to roll. Now I like it to be rolled nice and tight. You really can't go wrong with this. You're just rolling. That's it. The other reason I like to hold it like this is because I am then holding my thumb on the top where all of the petals are, and my middle finger is holding the bottom, so it's staying secure. I'm not going to drop it, and it's going to be even all the way around. Okay, so this is what it's looking like, and that's what it's supposed to look like. We get to the end, and I'm just going to put a little dab of glue there. Again, just on the strip. You don't want to put it on the petals. And then I just like to hold it to make sure that it's going to adhere nicely. Okay, so that's what it looks like at this point. And it just takes a second or so to make sure it's going to stay put together. I might have to use a little bit more glue. I try not to use a lot of glue because you don't need it to be oozing out the side. You just need enough so that it's going to hold, and that's it. But be sure you use a glue that's going to dry clear just in case you have some extra. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it's all done being rolled, and that's what it's supposed to look like. I myself like to work in odd numbers, so I'm going to be making 3 flowers for my project, so I'm going to do this again. And also it allows this flower to continue to dry, and should it come apart a little bit, it will give me time to get it adhered again. So once again, I'm just going to put the glue right up the strip part of the die cut. I'm going to take the second piece and I'm going to lay it right on top of the first piece, overlapping the petals. So this strip is going to fit, all of the petals are going to fit in the spaces of the previous strip. Once again, that's what it looks like. Then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to start to roll it in. And I just like to get it started. As I said, these are the easiest flowers that you can find on the website that will give you dimension and a beautiful end result. No 2 flowers turn out to be the same. Everyone's are different, which is also nice. And again, I'm just rolling. And on the next one, I'm going to show you how you can make the flower bigger. Because we want to have 3 flowers, but we don't want to have them all the same size. Again, I'm going to put a little dollop of glue right there on the very end, and then hold it, just to make sure it adheres. So this is what it looks like on the top, and you've got a little circle down at the bottom. Okay, so there's 2. Now I want my 3rd flower, which is going to be the flower that's going to be situated in the middle on my project, to be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to show you how to create a larger flower using the exact same die. And this is another reason why this is a very popular die, because it's very versatile, because you can change the size of your flowers simply by adding extra strips of paper. So again, this glue goes right up the strip part. The second die cut goes right on top of the first. And we're pushing down on it. Now I'm going to take my 3rd one and I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to cut it right there at the half mark. So by extending my strip, my flower itself is going to be larger. So I'm going to put a little dollop of glue there at the end and attach my 2nd strip, and then do the exact same thing that I did on the previous strip by adhering the 2nd strip right on top of the first, making sure once again that my petals are overlapping. Okay? Now you want to give the section that you glued the 2 strips together a little bit longer time to dry, because that is where it's going to come apart, if it's going to come apart at all. I'm just going to move these out of the way a little bit. Okay, and again I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did with the previous flowers. I'm going to roll just to get it started. Okay. I'm going to roll it like this now, just so you might be able to see a little bit better. I'm just rolling right up that strip, right up that line. I do like to do it like I showed you though, where I either take my thumb and my middle finger or my thumb and my forefinger, and I just feel like I have better control as I roll in a circle. And I just pull it a little bit to make it tight. And this is why everyone's flower looks a little bit different, because some people don't pull it tight, some people only use 2 strips, some people use 4, some people use 6. You do have to use at least 2 strips though on every flower. Okay, so there's the end, and I'm going to go ahead, put my glue there, and then there's what it looks like, and I'm just holding it just to ensure that it stays put together. And you also, it's a good idea to go ahead and press down on the top so that all the petals are even. Now that one came apart a little bit, so we're going to put some more glue on it. It wasn't quite ready to be let go. I do not advise using hot glue on these. It's too difficult to hold, first of all, because it does get really hot. And secondly, you don't want to be able to see it, the glob of glue. Okay, so now I'm going to show you. Here is the one using 3 strips of paper, and here are our other ones using 2. So as you can see, there's just a little bit difference in the size. So what I'm going to do first now is show you how to open the first one that we rolled. what I do is I just place it in front of me, I put my finger on top, and then with my other finger, I just start pulling the petals down. Okay? And you literally stop when you like the look of your flower. You can leave it where it looks like it's blossoming and don't open it all the way, and that's kind of what I like to do with the smaller flowers. So there's the one flower. Here's my second flower. I'm going to do the same thing, just press in the middle. And again, they're not going to look the same. You don't want them to look the same. Here's the second one. Okay, so these are going to be the flowers that I'm going to put on the sides. And this just shows you how each one of them really looks different. Same amount of paper is used in both of these. I just opened this one a little bit more. Now here's the one that's going to be a little larger because I used more paper. And I'm going to show you what I like to do with this one because I like to put it in the middle of my project. Now I could go ahead and leave it right like that, which I think looks very nice. But I like the one in the middle to stand out a little bit more, so I take my fingers and I really press down on these bottom ones. And look at the different effect that we have just by doing that. Now I'd like to show you one that I did earlier. This is also using 3 strips of paper. And I pressed these flat down and then I just put a little pearl in the center. So you can really do a variety of things with these. I actually like the way that looks right there, so I think I'm going to leave that there. And then I like to just kind of lay my project out a little bit so I can see what it's going to look like, and this is just kind of how I have it envisioned, is like that. And I will turn it around and everything as we proceed. This is the Stacker leaf die, and what's nice about this is I can go ahead and put my flower right in the middle, and I have 3 leaves. Obviously that looks like it's made for a bigger flower, so what I can do is just snip this apart and I can make a 2-leaf flower like this, or I can go ahead and just cut those off and then I have 3. And that's how I like to use those. And then I just like to take my embossing mat and my embossing tool, and I like to give them a little dimension by rolling them a little bit. Again, very easy. Anyone can do this. And I don't know how many I'm going to use, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a couple here. I'll do all 3 of those. And then the same thing with the Flourish leaf strip. This is really my favorite because you can cut it apart and use several pieces of it. So what I'm going to do is the same thing. I'm just going to kind of emboss them a little bit and give them some dimension. And again, I'm just going to do a few of them. I don't know that I'll use all of them until I start layering. I have that. Okay, and then here's our larger one, which is our Fanciful Flourish. And again, this can be cut apart and used in sections. For this project, I'm going to leave it just as it is. And I'm just embossing ends because I don't want it to be flat. I want it to be poking up in places. And we'll talk a little bit after we get this assembled as to what I like to use my projects like this for when they're finished because of the dimension. Now here is the butterfly die, and I like to just go ahead and run my embosser right down the center because what I like to do then is I like to use the backing piece, and I just fold it in half there and lay it right on there and let it go ahead and adhere. And as you can see just from everything that I'm doing by the embossing and using the 3-dimensional glue dots, this is going to be a dimensional project, so we don't put anything in an envelope or anything like that. And I'm going to give you some ideas of what I like to use mine for. So look at how beautiful the butterfly turns out. Okay, and that's, you get both dies in this package. And then what I like to do is I like to just run some pearls right up the middle here. And I'm just using a pair of tweezers to grab a hold of my pearls to get them exactly where I want them. And these are flat backed pearls. You can use round pearls as well if you like. This is just what I happen to have. And this is just to create the body of the butterfly. And I just think it adds a really nice touch to do that. And again, I'm just one for the odd numbers, so I'm going to put 5 on there and not stop right where it looks like I should stop. And if I wanted to, I could put them up here at the antennas as well, but I'm not going to do that. Alright, and what I'm going to do, let's see, I'm going to put my butterfly there in the middle. But what I wanted to show you is this doily ensemble like this with the two of them stacked together. I have actually put projects together like this, gone ahead and finished them up the way I want to finish them, added all of my leaves and everything, and I present this on the top of a present. You can use it as a gift tag. You can put a little to and from label over here. There are a million things you can do with these. Don't get stuck on, oh, I have to put it on a card. I want to put it on a card for you today just so I can show you how easy it is to go ahead and assemble on the card, and because I want to use the Fanciful Flourish as well. But again, just as it is like this, let's just put it together like that first, and then I'll show you what I mean. And then again, what I do with my adhesive, because I want all of these areas to remain dimensional, I'm just going to put glue on the areas that I want to be flat. So that's just mainly going to be not on any of the leaves. This is such a quick and easy, fun project. And who wouldn't love to receive something like this as well? Alright, so now I'm just going to take it and I'm going to lay my Fanciful Flourish right on top of my doily, and then I'll look and see where else I need to add some glue. But again, I want pieces to be popping out a little bit like that. So some of them are going to end up being covered because that's also where I'm going to be placing my flowers. But I wanted to have a good idea of where I wanted to put my butterfly as well. And once again, I'm going to put my adhesive in the same spot I put it for my pearls, because I want the butterfly to remain dimensional and just look natural. Okay. And then once everything dries, I usually go back and start lifting things and making them more dimensional to my liking. Okay, so this is where we are right now. You can see how beautiful it looks already. And then I am going to take my flowers, and again I'm just going to kind of lay them where I want them to be situated, and I'm going to go ahead and start with the middle piece and start with one of my leaves. And all I've done is I've used a different color green to do that. And I'm going to obviously use a lot more glue now that I'm putting the larger dimensional items on here. I just love using these dies. They're so versatile. Everything looks amazing once you get everything laid out the way that you like. It's fun, it's easy. There's so many different things you can do. I've got a little tulle pearl spray that I think I'm going to try to hide underneath one of these. Or you can just kind of play around with it and see where we like it as well. Might look nice there. And then because there's these raised backed areas on here, it allows you to really shove them underneath other areas, which I like to do as well. And again, you just have to be patient by holding it and allowing it to dry a little bit. This may be the one area where I would say it would be okay to go ahead and use hot glue, because it would be quicker and it would hold right away rather than having to sit here and hold on to it. But I just want to give you the general idea here. And that is also why it's important to be sure that you're using a clear, dry glue as well. I'm just going to tuck this other flower now underneath that one. I may need to get my hot glue gun just so this works a little bit easier. And that will take just a second to heat up. But when you're laying the dimensional things down and they're a little bit bulkier, it's going to take a little bit longer if you're just using the regular glue like I was trying to do there. So while that's heating up, we will also just kind of lay out. I've got a little ticket here that says soar because I'm using a butterfly. I thought that might be cute to add in there as well. And then I also have a little sticker that says simple pleasures are life's treasures. And I thought that might be fun to add on here as well. And just, I think that looks cute like that. So this is where I'm going with this right now, as you can see. And then these extra leaf flourishes that I cut out, I'm going to just be poking and adding in there as well after I get those flowers situated. And then I'm not sure if I like that up there or not. So we may use that, we may not. I'd really like to encourage all of you to take a look over at the Cheery Lynn Designs website. They have a wonderful full site. As I said, there's a full blog with an amazing design team that shows you a bunch of different projects. They're a very talented group of ladies. As each new release comes out, there's always a bunch of different projects that they share and show how they use things. There's plenty of pictures for you to look at, as well as a challenge blog where each week a challenge is posted and you have the opportunity to win some free dies or a free coupon to the store to be used towards your dies. So just simply by creating a project and then showing it. So I encourage you to do that. Here's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to go over that area with the hot glue just so I get it to adhere right away so you can see it. And I'm going to put the other one kind of off the side here because I don't want it to look like it's going in a straight line, but more like it's a little trio of flowers sitting there. And then we're going to tuck leaves underneath it. And again, this really is something that anyone can do, and anyone would love to receive as well. I'm just going to tuck that little ticket underneath there as well. I think it goes nicely with the project because it's a butterfly. And then you can, once you have everything on there, you can open your flowers up a little more if that's what you'd like to do. And then, as I said, I'm just going to take these little extra Flourish pieces and tuck them places just for more leaves and more added dimension. Okay. And like I said before, we can cut them and place them wherever we like. We can leave them whole. I kind of like to have some of them a little smaller, just so it looks more natural. Okay. And it's just fun to see the different projects that people make. So using the same dies. There's so many different things you can do with just having a few dies. And there's plenty of places to look for those ideas online, and starting with Cheery Lynn's website. Okay, so as I told you, now that the butterfly is dry, I can go ahead and poke that up a little bit. And I'm going to put a few more of the leaf flourishes to come off of. And this is simply just to kind of make it look a little more natural, like we have a vine growing there with some flowers. And if I wanted, I could add some more flowers on here as well, but I kind of like it with just the 3 there. The worst thing about using the hot glue is having to pick off these glue webs, because you need to be really careful when you do that, because you don't want to knock anything out of place on your project. So I encourage you, like I said, to go over and take a look at their dies and the projects by the design team, because you won't find any other place that's going to have more of a variety of these things for you to look at. And again, here we have the tag. And how pretty would that be just to go ahead and put on a gift box, to wrap a present up, go ahead and lay it on there. You can use it as a tag because the doily has some of these holes up at the top. You can string some ribbon through it, hang it like this from a gift bag. There's many, many things that you can do with this. I have a card already, and I'm just going to show you how beautiful it looks on a card. We're just going to turn it over and add our glue. Right there in the center is the only place I want to put it, because there's all those holes. And remember, we're off-centering it a little bit because that butterfly is not laying straight on our project. So here we are, our card is finished, and we used several Cheery Lynn Designs dies to create this, and there's many different things that you can do with it. So again, I hope you'll stop over at CheeryLynnDesigns.com, take a look at the dies, take a look at the blog, and peek at some of the items that the design team has made. I will list all of the items that I used in the box below for you to find over on the website if that's what you'd like to do. And I just would like to thank you for joining me.